with harmony, you can kind of do that.
Yeah.
You get a augmented chord or a major 7 or the 13th chord. You get different.
Yeah,
moods.
yeah. And also, our society is so, plain Jane about it that, seldomly it's not necessarily known that it's, a lot of us don't even know that it's a possibility because we were given a set of rules, and then everyone believed that was the set of rules they have to live within. But in, ethnomusicology, you learn that a lot of other musical cultures are atonal because the instruments that we're tempering with aren't tempered.
Yeah.
So therefore, the music is like half tones and quarter tones and all this stuff because they just merely didn't have the technology to temper frets.
You had to get it close.
You had to get it close. And so you can kind of, so in a way, like, making it perfect and making it like a piano it definitely makes it easier to express a vision over amongst the people that have like-minded thoughts. But then you go into other cultures and you find out like the zither or whatever, you know what I mean? Like there's just so many, the Chinese instruments and stuff like that. Yeah. So many instruments you're able to kind of like put more poetry onto it because of the lack of its perfection.
Yeah.
When our the Pythagorean theorem has made our situation perfect equidistantly, 12 notes to rule them all.
Yep.
And that, I don't think that's very fair.
Well, it's kind of fun to take those scales that venture way on different. They go to different paths than the major and minor scale, or some of them line up with modes, but some of them can be totally different. And then we have these notes we're working with, and then to take Western music and think, okay, how can I harmonize with these notes? And your chords get totally different, which is kind of fun to play around with.
Absolutely. Make sure my dog isn't. Hey, man, come on.
Well, I'll have one more question for you, Brennan. I don't want to keep it too long, but
No, it's all right.
I think I know some of these answers because of how I hear you play. But I'm going to finish up with asking you about some of your main musical influences in your life.
Sure.
It could be a bass player. It could be even not music, but something that influenced your music.
Oh man, it's always so different every day. Like I've been listening to a lot of Memphis Minnie lately.
Okay.
She's an old blues cat from New Orleans that ended up in Chicago, circa turn of the 19th century to or turn of the 20th century to the 1941. I don't know. Memphis Minnie's Bob. I love Oteil Burbridge. Oteil.
Right. Oh yeah. Aquarium Rescue Unit, right?
Yeah, Aquarium Rescue Unit. Like, just him and his brother are just a wealth of knowledge of speaking of alternate harmony, spirituality, and just kind of a perfect storm of tone, time, technique. Like they're both, Oteil specifically to me as a bass player is just like, one of the there's a reason why he's in the Dead now. He's the bass player for the Dead.
Yeah.
And then, obviously when I was spoon-fed Jocko as a kid.
That's the name I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people want to go that route, but when I learned that, like, your musical, they want to grow up to be like him.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like, I love Jocko's playing, and as far as the electric bass is concerned, no one's ever been or will be. They might be as good, but they won't be the first.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't care how you want to slice it. Like, he was the first. He was just, he's at the temple. He's at the, he's at the mountain, at the top of the mountain of like the first guy to do that.
Yep.
So, of course, I love my James Jamerson. You know what I mean?
Yep. I got a James Jamerson book right here.
That's what I'm saying. Like, living, like, as you know, it's like, it's a very tumultuous times, and, the world is not necessarily seeing eye to eye on so much stuff, but like when we were kids, we didn't know that. And we grew up with Detroit's radio stations in Ann Arbor here. So I grew up listening to Motown.
Yep.
and everything. And so like Bob Babbitt and James Jamerson were some of my main guys. And like for a long time, I like to think that I don't sound like Jaco because I kind of went anti-Jaco. And so if I play a fretless bass, for years, I got you play a fretless bass, you will like Jaco. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, when will the world realize that there's like more to a fretless bass? Like, I don't play anything like Jaco on the fretless bass. If you listen to like the way it does sound like a fretless bass, which makes it sound like what Jaco sounded like, but like, like it's basically the saying like, there's tomatoes in the tomato soup. Wow. It's like it's kind of like stating the obvious. Like the ingredient of it being a fretless bass already makes it sound like somebody who invented the fretless bass. Yeah.
Well,
so it's like Jaco, he invented the fretless bass. So it's like, it's like he literally was the first person to take a butter knife and take the frets out of a bass and make it fretless.
Yeah.
Because his upright bass exploded in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I remember that documentary. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like you learn about that kind of stuff. And I mean, O'Teal, Jaco, of course, Victor Wooten, and like was it Chuck Farmer, the bass player from the Wild Magnolias?
Okay.
Or Julius, maybe it was Julius Farmer, but his bass player from the Wild Magnolias. Hell, I love Joe Dart. Shit, like.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't necessarily watching him grow up playing, but what he's done and the way he's reinvented it, the bass, and made people excited about it, I love that. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm kind of like I'm influenced by Felix the Cat and cartoons. Like a lot of cartoons have inspired me through the years. Tom and Jerry's Izzy Wiz or Izzy You Ain't My Baby. Okay. Was one of the first times I saw like a upright bass in my entire life was in this cartoon. And I saw Tom playing the upright bass for this like girl cat in a window and sang Izzy Wiz or Izzy You Ain't My Baby, and was like, man, what a cat. Like, like I kind of, as I'm older, I kind of see how they were like playing it because he was a cat character and stuff. Yeah. But there he was playing this upright bass, and I was like, oh, you can like play like a mine, like, doom, do, 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 do. Yeah. Like that vibe was like, whoa. And, Satchmo, like I slowly but surely kind of like renouncing all my contemporary, like I love contemporary stuff, like when people can reinvent the wheel, God bless them for it, you know what I mean? But like, a lot of the people that just didn't reinvent the wheel and made it run smoothly, I love that just as much. So, right, yep. To say like my music influences change basically on a day-to-day basis. Yep. I just listened to on my way to the store earlier, I listened to the song that was like dun 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 dun. Yeah, unbelievable. Oh, yeah. Like super terrible like British pop rock. You know what I mean? Like I'm into that too. You know what I mean? So it's like, and as far as like, my like, if there was a top 5, shit, I guess the top 5 would be constantly in rotation. But you got Victor Wooten, Stanley Clark, O'Teal Burbridge, James Jamerson, and I don't know, Paul Chambers or Ron Carter, like both of them. They're all from, most of those cats are, a lot of them are from Detroit. Like that, it's so hard, like, and then ultimately my biggest influences are my friends. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the ones that change me the most are the ones that I'm listening to directly to.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? So it's like my biggest influence in music a lot of the times are the people that I'm just sitting in a room with, that when I hear them do that shit, I'm like, oh. Yep. Yep. I got to get back to the woodshed.
Yeah, I get that feeling a lot. It's good.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's like it's hard to say who that is on a daily or monthly or weekly or even yearly basis at this point. But like, those are standard names as influences and standard names of people who've influenced specifically the bass in a direction. And I'm not saying that the hardest thing, and what I've learned from everybody, ultimately is that their voice is their own because they found it by gigging 5 nights a week. And the only way to get your own voice is by getting knee deep in the mud. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's kind of, I feel like I'm slowly getting my own sound because of those very things.
Yep. It'll keep growing, you know, forever.
Well, I'm playing a lot less notes than I was 10 years ago. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. That's a young thing. I think I still like to do it once in a while. You got to do it once in a while.
Oh, I do it once in a while, but my hands don't work like they used to, A, and B, you know, in the role of a bass player, you know, it's really easy to piss off a majority of your audience by being flashy versus making a majority of your audience dance by doing the job that your instrument's supposed to do.
Yeah. And it's fun just to hold the groove sometimes. Just you're seeing the reaction to it.
It's the most fun. It's the most fun. It's, you know, I try to rebel against that, but if I really wanted to rebel against being a bass player, I would just join you in guitar playing.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm playing a lot of guitar these days too, but it's one of those things where I just feel like, you know, at one point at time I was young enough and I was like, well, why do guitar players get to get all the credit for being a sweet soloist? It's like, I don't know, because their instrument is tuned in a way that makes it sound good when they shred.
Yeah.
Like if you're up on the 13th fret of your electric bass, it's a pretty expensive therapy bill.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean?
It's a lot harder to navigate the bass, to play fast in those runs. And like an upright bass, when I play it, my hands get tired quick. Real quick.
Oh yeah. I've been playing the upright bass for, you know, I don't know, 20 years now. And me and Jordan just did a little session in the backyard the other day for our friend's birthday. And I mean, I definitely still can play, but I'm definitely very rusty. And ultimately, a lot of people, like, you know, it's just, like I said, the ingredients to music working are compassion, listening. You know what I mean? Making if you want to make other people sound better, that's how you kind of get the call back.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, if you sound great, but you're if you're stepping on skulls, or if you're just a crab in the bucket, you know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of people that have done that, you know? But if you're like playing one note groove and the band is just cooking, and they think that you can't play because you're only playing one note, but you're playing one note that's making a band sound like a badass band, then that to me is, you know, that's kind of where in the last 5 years of my life, I've finally was wise enough to like move in a direction that wasn't self-embetterment, but was actually in betterment of the entire world around me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I said, smoke and mirrors, man. It's like, you know, if people are into it, like, it's better to have your chops and not need them than need them and not have them.
Correct. Yes. Yep.
So that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I still got my chops. I'm just not necessarily, I'm not, you know, resting my laurels on them anymore. You know, I can't ever beat Victor Wooten at his own game. I can't beat Stanley Clarke at his own game. I just can't.
They got pretty crazy, unique, individualized things they do.
Right. And if you look at these kids from Atlanta who are 12 years old, they got a better chance of it than I do. You know, like, there's these little kids on YouTube that'll be like, I'm like, man, those guys sound great. They're just 12 and will never get hired.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't seen those videos. Check them out. There's probably
I'll send you. I mean, as far as that, just, you know, playing all the styles, man, that's what it takes. You know, like you are like me, man. You just love music. You want to play it. If you're supposed to play one, if the band grooves because you go like the edge and just go, ciao. Ciao. But that's what it takes, you know, like, you know, you're going to do that. You know what I mean? It's like, that's, you know, at one point doing what music needs versus what you need is kind of like what you have, you know, that's the great quest for us both, is like, we all want to be considered great someday, but being Steve Cropper great versus being fucking that kid who I opened up for Springfield who played a Stratocaster like Stevie Ray Vaughan, who I don't even remember his name.
Yeah. Yeah. You said the perfect example. Steve Cropper is like the guy who just held it together. Like, I remember hearing stories but recording sessions with him that like the producer wanted him in the room, and maybe he didn't end up in the album, but he said he made the recording better because he kept a tight part, and he just kept the other musicians on track. He didn't go crazy. Yeah, Steve Cropper's a good example. Was he Stax Records?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So basically, Stax Records is a good example of all that stuff. Just finding a little chord voicing and hitting a pocket.
Yeah, I mean Stax, but there's also, I mean, so is Hitsville USA. You know, like all that stuff, like that. You know, all the traditional cats, just really the real ones know how to play, can play, and don't play, and they only play what the songs need. And then that's why you have your own little alt side projects and shit. You know what I mean? It's like you want to have if you want to be all deranged playing surf rock, then do that, but just do that on your own time. Don't do it on my gig. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Kind of vibe. You know what I mean? So, anyways, it's I'm so glad you're doing this, man, and just finding a time to curate the minds of your colleagues.
Yeah, it's been
because it's been fun to getting to know you and hang with you better. We've always known each other, but we've never really gotten to hang. And like, we've got a couple gigs now where we got to do a couple road trips. And I enjoy your company a lot, man. And your wife's lovely. And, we look forward to seeing you before another year goes by. Hopefully, Yeah,
hopefully we can get together and play again soon at some event that's done well, done right.
More, an event where you can smell the BO of the band versus just,
Yeah.
They haven't invented smell-o-vision yet, so.
Yeah, it'll happen eventually, hopefully soon. But I'll be waiting for the day for sure. Well, thanks a lot so much for joining me. This will be a great, fun one to edit, and I can't wait to go through. I'll put those tracks in, but it'll just be fun. Like when I do these, I'm going to be sitting and listening to a whole bunch of your live music for a couple of days as I'm editing. So that's be enjoyable too.
Yeah, man. Just make sure, shout Magpies are probably going in the studio in February if health permitting. And other than that, I really don't have I feel like we've been doing a lot of stuff. Me and Shimon and Darren have been doing a lot of stuff in the studio, just like creating like improvisational like sketch tracks.
Yeah.
So I'm working the best I can to try and keep creating, but like in general, cats like you and I have already don't forget that you've already contributed to the lexicon.
Yeah.
Some people don't even know what the lexicon is, let alone contribute to it. So it means, even what you're doing right now is a contribution to the lexicon of all things holy and sacred amongst the career we've chosen being a musician or whatever. Yep. But that's why I wore my Jordan Hamilton hat tonight. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Young cats coming up, rocking out.
Yep.
Trying to show love.
Cool. Yeah, I'll put links up and stuff for the projects you've done too, so people hopefully get a lot of maybe some old fans checking out again, but new people coming in. I hope is my goal.
Oh yeah, man. I'm on 30 now published records. So.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. I was gonna ask you about records and stuff, but 30. Maybe we'll have another conversation another day. We can talk about some of the recordings.
Yeah.
And like that.
30 and climbing, bro.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, congratulations. That's a lot. It's a big accomplishment. It's a lot of work done.
Well, shit, man. Just keep on grooving.
Yep. All right, cool, Brennan. You have a great night.
Homie.
Tell your dog I said he can go outside now.
Yeah, you got it, man.
All right, take care, man. Thank you.
Keep on keeping on.
Peter Metcalf Ruth. My name is John Churchville, Lucas Agin-Smith, Anoop Gopal, and Mr. Mark Maxwell. We're going to take a short break. Thank you all. We'll be right back. so much. That is Dan Ripke, Brennan Andes, Badisha Ghosh, Peter Madcat Ruth. My name is John Churchville. This is Lucas Atkins-Smith, Anup Gopal, and Mark Maxwell. Thank you so much.